Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here, back with another detailed weather forecast. In today's detailed weather discussion, we're going to give you the very latest update on the very heavy snow impacts, along to go with severe weather and very strong wind. So here's a look at the latest GFS model for Sunday morning, March the 24th, 2024, and we can see where our surface low is going to be located over central portion there of Wyoming, but there's another surface low that is going to rapidly develop here over across the eastern portion of Colorado. And so by early Sunday morning, that's where the surface low is located at 990 millibars. But look at what we got going on up here. Moderate to heavy snowfall with maybe some thunder snow over northwestern Iowa, as well as portions of South Dakota and southwestern Minnesota. By Sunday afternoon, we are dealing with a mega monster winter storm. 978 millibar surface low over eastern Colorado, and the pressure goes from 990 millibars by Sunday morning to 978 millibars by Sunday afternoon. Literally 12 hours later, we have a pressure drop of more than 15 millibars. If you thought that was bad enough, there is going to be some very, very heavy snow leading to massive blizzard conditions and whiteout conditions up here across the Dakotas, as well as portions there of Michigan, including for Wisconsin, north of this warm front that is going to be draped across northern Iowa, as well as northwestern portion there of Nebraska. You can see it right here. There's your warm front. Here is your dry line back in here across western Texas. And then, of course, we got our cold front that is going to be anchored out here across southern Colorado into southern portion there of Utah. In fact, when we zoom in closer at central Kansas, there are some nasty kidney bean shaped supercells that do develop across central, southern Kansas, and some of these storms could be capable of producing maybe a big tornado as well as very large hail and wind gusts exceeding 70 to 80 miles an hour. Now zooming back out at the entire United States, and we can see this storm still going to generate some big time snowfall across Colorado as well as the Dakotas, including for Nebraska and Minnesota. This is going to be one of the biggest storm systems that we have had since early January. And then by Monday afternoon, severe weather reinitiates across Arkansas into Louisiana, as well as portions there of St. Louis, Missouri, along to go with that dry line and cold front. Well, the cold front's more back here, but you can see there is a boundary here, and there is going to be severe weather along that boundary by the afternoon, and then continuing by the time we go into, say, Monday night into Tuesday. Severe weather is just going to rumble across the portions there of Mississippi as well as Alabama, with big time snowfall continuing across Minnesota and northernmost Wisconsin. Therefore, the Storm Prediction Center will maintain a slight risk for severe weather across northern Oklahoma into Kansas, where those supercells do develop, and they will contain a 5% chance of tornadoes. Yeah, this is going to be an elevated tornado threat, along to go with a big hail threat, where there's a 15% risk for large hail all the way across northern Oklahoma into Kansas, followed with a 15% risk for damaging winds that could exceed 65 to 75 to perhaps 80 miles an hour. But now with severe weather moving into the deep south, there is a slight risk for severe weather too for Louisiana, for eastern Texas, southern Arkansas, as well as central and southwestern Mississippi. But it's not just the severe weather that you will have to worry about. You're also going to have to worry about some river flooding, small stream flooding, urban flooding, as well as street flooding because of heavy rainfall that is anticipated. The Weather Prediction Center for Day 3 has issued a slight risk for heavy rainfall over southern Mississippi, central Mississippi, as well as southern Missouri, portions thereof, or most of Arkansas, into northwestern Louisiana, including for western Tennessee. Now, when we take a look at the snowfall totals, these are impressive, especially from the National Weather Service blend of models. This is basically the NBM forecast, okay? And they are thinking that most of Minnesota could get 2 feet of snowfall with this, including a little area here that might see 25 to almost 30 inches of snowfall. That's almost 3 feet. That's 2.5 feet in this area. Right up here in northeastern South Dakota, southeastern portion there of North Dakota, you might see about 2 feet of snowfall. Now, looking at the total rainfall accumulation, especially for the deep south here, you might see anywhere between 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, especially for Mississippi and Alabama. Southern Tennessee might get almost 2 inches of rainfall. And then, of course, over, say, Little Rock, Arkansas, you might see 2 inches of rain. And then St. Louis, Missouri, you could see anywhere between about an inch to a couple of inches with up to an inch of rain in Chicago. Another feature that this storm system is going to have is the very strong winds, especially for New Mexico and northwestern Texas. Take a look at these wind gusts, anywhere between 55 to perhaps 65 miles an hour. There could be a few isolated areas that could have wind gusts over 70 miles an hour. But look at this, Guadalupe Mountain up over here in New Mexico and Texas could have wind gusts exceeding 80 miles an hour, which would be enough to cause blowing dust, maybe some property damage, because these winds are going to be very strong, including for portions here or most of Oklahoma could have wind gusts between 45 to 50 miles an hour. Then eventually it's going to impact Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas for Monday morning, and we can see those wind gusts anywhere between 50 to perhaps 60 miles an hour, which will be enough to bring down trees and power lines. Those northwesterly winds are going to be extremely strong. Now, the reason why the storm is going to be so strong is because we're dealing with a very dynamic, negatively tilted trough here over much of the Midwest, and you can see it right here. Here is your jet streak that is ejecting into the region, and that's going to really kickstart some cyclogenesis. We're going to have lots of dynamics, severe weather to the south, lots of snow and colder temperatures to the north, and you can blame it all on this trough-like system. You can also blame it on the temperature gradient that's going to also be extreme. Look at these temperatures possibly in the 70s in Iowa. Once you get behind the cold front, temperatures are going to be in the upper teens to lower 20s, and it gets even worse than that. Look at overnight lows here in portions of the Dakotas. -1 degree temperatures with temperatures in the 20s and teens in portions of the high plains, with temperatures in the 50s and 60s in Indiana and Illinois for Tuesday morning. Now, before I do end the video, I do have 5 important announcements to share with you all. As always, I've been mentioning this in my past few videos. I am going to be hosting a total solar eclipse live stream on Monday, April the 8th, 2024. It begins in my location at Kerrville, Texas at 12:15 p.m. We're going to be making the drive to Kerrville, Texas on April the 3rd. It's going to be a very exciting event. And not only that, I will be doing a Q&A live stream on April the 2nd about what my plans are for the solar eclipse. So I highly recommend you all joining that stream so that way your questions can be answered if you have any. And then, of course, my first Atlantic Hurricane Seasonal Outlook will be released on April the 15th. So on Monday, April the 15th, is when it will come out. And then my first routine tropical weather outlook will begin on May 25th, and it will run through November the 1st. But as always, you could also follow me here on Discord at Weather Force Today. There will be a link in the description below this video, along to go with my Twitter. But anyways, if you did enjoy today's detailed weather forecast, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media. As always, I will be back in the home weather office tomorrow with an urgent update, live update potentially, on this massive winter storm.